Alright, hey there guys, Adrian DeCosta here, aka JediBro95, coming at you guys with another video. And finally, after months of anticipation and never knowing when it was finally going to happen, it has finally happened. James Harden has been dealt to the Brooklyn Nets, which is one of the destinations a lot of people were hoping that he would go to. Me, I was not one of them. I thought Philly was going to be the one to steal him because Philly was honestly the best situation for him, but I'll discuss that later on. But it finally happened. James Harden is now a Brooklyn Net. So the full deal breaks down as follows. I'm not reading it. I'm not going to put it on the screen because I'm kind of just doing it off the top of my head like I normally do. So obviously the Brooklyn Nets just get James Harden. It was actually a 4-team deal, by the way. Brooklyn Nets get James Harden. The Indiana Pacers grabbed Karis LeVert. The Cavaliers picked up couple of players. One of them was Jared Allen. I can't remember who else they grabbed. And then the Houston Rockets picked up Victor Oladipo, as well as a few other assets, as well as a bunch of draft picks. 4 were pick swaps, and I think 3 or 4 were just straight up picks. So that being said, let's just dissect this trade right away first. Now, I think it's a little too early to say one team won or lost this trade because, truthfully speaking, I'm actually probably going to make another video about talking about transactions or things in hindsight that happened in the NBA and saying that this was a bad pickup or that this was a good decision or this was a bad trade. I'm going to talk about that later on in another video. But in brief, I just want to talk about the idea that making a bad decision for trading, unless it's legitimately obvious in the moment, I don't really think people should be making those arguments as to it being a good or bad decision. Now, this applies to this situation because the Rockets definitely are now rebuilding. That is a fact. A lot of people were thinking that it wasn't going to happen and James Harden was going to stay. Me, in the back of my mind, I was hoping James Harden would stay because, he's a great player and he can lead the Rockets to the postseason. We've seen that countless times with less than marginal ideal supporting cast around him, but but also I was also thinking as well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. So it has happened, and he is now in Brooklyn. And again, I'm not going to say definitively the Rockets made a bad choice, but it is clear that the Rockets are now in rebuild mode, and they actually got Victor Oladipo, who is on an expiring contract, and I didn't even know this until about a couple hours ago when I was watching some other people make their reactions to it. Victor Oladipo's on an expiring contract, so you can just let him go or maybe trade him, maybe do a sign and trade, get some more assets for Victor Oladipo. So I do really like the pickup of Victor Oladipo. Hopefully he can revive his career in Houston. I doubt it because the injuries, the ACL, MCL injuries are very similar to the Achilles injuries in my mind, in which, you're never the same. Those are the two worst type of injuries an athlete can sustain, in my opinion. Then after that, it's all sports subjective. Like for baseball, maybe a broken ankle isn't as impactful as, say, something like it is in soccer. But anyhow, so I want to touch on the other half of this coin, or the major coin, and that is the Brooklyn Nets. Do I think they get better? Honestly, in my personal opinion, and this might be a hot take, I actually think they got a little worse. Now, hear me out. I know a lot of people, again, want to sit there and say that they won the trade because they got the best player, and I'm not going to sit here and say that they lost, but I think the Nets got a little worse because they added another volume scoring player that they truthfully did not need, okay? I get they lost Spencer Dinwiddie to injuries for the remainder of the season, and I hope he makes a speedy recovery and comes back next season healthy. They also did lose Karis LeVert in this transaction, losing him to the Indiana Pacers. Fine. But the Rockets did not need another volume scoring, especially who's a ball handler and an initiator. You already had that with KD. You already had that with Kyrie. So putting yourself in a situation to where you have 3 high-volume scorers on the same team, somebody's going to take less shots because it's just one basketball. You cannot. James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant cannot put up 27 to 35 points per game seasons anymore consistently. That's just not happening this year. with these three on the team. Someone's going to take less shots, and it's really unfortunate because we've heard a lot of indications as well that James Harden has become so ball dominant that Chris Paul legitimately has spoken out and has talked about his time playing with James Harden and how if he basically didn't have the ball, James Harden would try to not even be involved in the offense. So personally, I think the Rockets got worse because of that, but also they kind of regressed on that side of the ball a little bit, especially when it comes to their interior presence and rim protection, as Jared Allen is, I would argue, a top 5 rim protector in the NBA. He's very mobile, he's very quick, he's very good at timing his jumps to block shots. So I would argue, especially for interior presence, they significantly got worse in the paint, because even though DeAndre Jordan is still a quality center, he's not 2015 DeAndre Jordan. He's not going to be giving you a double-double with like 2 blocks a game. That's just not who he is anymore. So I do think defensively the Rockets got worse, and offensively it's going to be a bit of a power struggle in Brooklyn. Also with the inexperience of Jason Kidd being a head coach, I don't know how he's going to manage these egos, because these 3 players all have ginormous egos. Like, as I said, James Harden has been reluctant to be a, off-ball player over the last several seasons. Now, granted, it is due to Mike D'Antoni's system. However, Mike D'Antoni's an assistant in Brooklyn. What? That's a little bit confusing for me. Kyrie Irving also has a big ego because he's trying to prove that he can be the guy, quote, on a team. Now, I know that may be a little bit different from recent years, obviously taking second fiddle to Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant is trying to prove that he can win without a super team. He can win without Golden State. Now, just a quick side note, I don't really think that hurts his legacy going to Golden State in anything, but I think it does. It doesn't hurt his legacy in all-time rankings. I still think he is the 3rd greatest small forward the game has ever seen. But when it comes to putting him in the same class as guys like Hakeem Olajuwon, Larry Bird, and all those top 10 greats, you can't do that right now, and it's going to take a little bit extra for him to do so because of those championships. But that being said, it's gonna be a power struggle, like I said, and with James Harden being the ball dominant guard that he has been over the last few years, it's going to be interesting to see how this is going to play out. I personally think I still have the Nets going to the finals, and I think they will get there. Personally, I don't think it's going to be as easy of a cakewalk as a lot of people think it will be for the Nets. I think they will still make the NBA Finals, but I still have them losing. And again, they lost their rim protector, and that was the one saving grace they had against the Lakers, who are the prime team for the Western Conference right now. It is the Los Angeles Lakers. Well, they just lost their only rim protector. So it's going to be significantly harder for the Nets to match up very well with the Lakers. So I still have the Lakers winning in 5. I think this is not going to pan out the way the Nets are going to think, and I actually do think they gig it a little bit worse just because they lost their rim protector. But I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So let me know what you guys think about this transaction. What do you think about the Rockets? It is unfortunate to see the James Harden era end the way it did. I really think they could have made a finals appearance. Actually, they should have made the finals in 2018, but that's neither here nor there. But anyways, that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Before I do go, actually, a couple of shout-outs. The first one goes to A1 Hoops. Huge shout-out to him because he actually reached out. He actually recently subscribed, and he actually reached out to me last night at the time of me making this video. He actually reached out to me, was it last night or early this morning? Actually, it's early this morning because I'm recording this at like 2:30. He actually reached out to me. He actually gave me some advice on how to make my videos better, and that's why you see this nice-ass thumbnail in there. So, huge shout-out to him for recommending me Pick Art, and I think the other one was Phonto. I can't remember them at this time. My phone is dead. But I will definitely link his channel in the description below. So, go give him some love. And again, thank you for putting me on to these apps for the thumbnail and whatnot. Also, huge shout out to basically continuing on to everybody who has been watching. I know in it's not really my channel is not really that big right now, but I do appreciate everyone who is consistently, sticking around, watching the content, and just being here to watch the videos and even dropping a like or so every now and then. It really does make me happy to see that people are putting out or giving me support, and instead of me just thinking I'm doing this all for nothing. So thank you for that, guys. But with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.